Hi, it's James for godispoor.org. It's a beautiful day out. Wet snow clinging to the tree branches. And earlier I heard a couple of Catholic bishops on YouTube talking about peace in response to a request from, I think, the chair of the U.S. Conference of Catholic Bishops, which is good. I mean, peace is a good thing to advocate. But they spoke in generalities. And one of them mentioned the killings by ICE. One of them spoke in favor of writers and activists. I appreciate the shout out. The thing is, when someone needs to be reminded of peace, it's usually the person who's committing violence rather than the person who's resentful about the violence being committed. They spoke against resentment, and I think that's a mistake. I think resentment motivates us to oppose tyranny and murder. And right now, the United States may go to war against Iran without congressional approval. That should be considered against the law, but, not lately. And rich folk are really out of hand. Wealth inequality is a terrible problem that can destroy civilization. Because what's the point if, for most of us, if we're just going to be oppressed by the wealthy? And the environment is being destroyed. There's a mass extinction going on that will harm humanity in turn. And the poor most of all. There are many things to be talking about. And specifically, to be speaking against. And powerful people like Catholic bishops could do a lot of good if they spoke out. So I'd like to talk a little about the life of Jesus. When I read the Gospels, here's the story I hear in part. So rich folk were getting out of hand, and John the Baptist stood up and said, let's burn rich folk. And Jesus came along and said, hey, thanks for the opening act. Thanks for setting this scene up nicely for me, because to get a conciliator power, you need to have someone speaking outrageously. So Jesus went around collecting alms for the poor, speaking about the equality of people, the dignity of the poor, saying, give us this day our daily bread. It's an unambiguous message, I think, and collecting money from rich folk to give to the poor. But it wasn't enough. His followers grew in number. He needed more money to feed his followers, right? To give them their daily bread. He'd become a bit of a father, a provider of sustenance. Okay, well, what did he do? He robbed the money changers at the temple. And yes, it was robbery, right? Robbery is defined by local law. And I guarantee you that what Jesus did to the money changers was robbery. I think it's pretty clear that that's why Jesus was crucified between two thieves, right? Because he was a thief, and more than a thief, he was a robber. He was a violent thief. And that's what happens. You can be the son, or you can be violent. Once you choose violence, you become the father. And Jesus was elevated on the cross into the sky, becoming Father Sky. And when his side was pierced, water came out along with blood. And that's rain from Father Sky on Mother Earth, who was Mary, positioned below the cross. And Jesus was entombed like a seed in the ground and came forth after 3 days because the Son comes back, right? And that restored the system of Father, Mother, and Son. So I think the advice on violence and on peace is, if you're going to be violent, you can't be the son anymore. You got to become the father. And I think it's better. For those of us who follow the coalition of mother and son, we're peaceful. That's one of the reasons. At the same time, you can't tolerate murder. I think we should all advocate for congressional approval before any war in the United States. I think we should advocate for the breakup of obscene wealth, as Bernie Sanders is doing in California with the 5% wealth tax. I think we need to treat immigrants properly and refugees and people seeking asylum. I think we need to treat the poor properly, lest we become something that is not any of father, mother, or son, but is monster. Okay, so yeah, let's speak out more than Catholic bishops, at least these two Catholic bishops have done, because before the need for violence arrives, there's still a time during which a shovel will suffice to get rid of what's too thick on the ground right now. GodIsPoor.org.